What's up, guys? It's Matt Jackson and Clay Smith, and we are the Wash Bros. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you guys are enjoying your start to 2026. This is going to be the third season, episode 2. We figured we will talk about kind of like mistakes that newbies make, say in the first year, without even knowing. Because I know we talk a lot about theory, a lot about what you should do, but if you don't even know like what position or place you are in business, you don't know. So with this episode, we figured we'll speak directly to you. Say you just started pressure washing. This is your first slow season. This is your first year in business. Like, what are mistakes that you've made that you've learned from that you didn't even know in the moment, but like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years down the road, where we are, we know those mistakes, and we can give you guys the answers before you have to figure them out like we did on our own. So you want to kick this thing off, Clay?
Yes, sir. So we're shooting this early January. Like Matt said, we're going to be talking about what was the biggest mistake you made your first year in pressure washing. If you're new into pressure washing and you found us, this is also something good for you to look at and listen to, I guess. And so what we're going to talk about the things that we look back and say, okay, I wish I would have done this differently. I wish I would have done that. And one of the biggest things I actually asked in a Facebook group for pressure washing this week, I said, what was the biggest mistake you made in your first year of pressure washing? So that's going to be our topic today. And a majority of the answers were, I wish I would have invested into marketing versus equipment. So a lot of guys, even myself, Matt even probably, we get so fixated on the equipment. We get so fixated on what can I do to squirt water more on the house faster? What can I do to clean a house faster? What can I do? What can I do? Can I buy this cool thing that this guru is posting in these groups or promoting online for this new machine that just came out or this surface cleaner, this, that, and other? In all reality, you should be getting excited about marketing because the marketing is exactly what you need to grow a business, to get more work, and to grow. To grow. I mean, that's the purpose of it. You always want to be out marketing. If you don't have the work, then what good is the equipment going to do you? You got to get the work first before you move on and start upgrading equipment. When I first started, we went to Northern Tool, and I think I burned up 3 or 4 of those power. I think they're called power horses, little 1.2 or 1.8. It may have been more than that. I can't remember. It may have been like a 2.4 gallon a minute machine, and I was using an X Jet. That's the very first thing that I used, and I burned up 3 or 4 of them. And then when I started getting busy, I realized, okay, I can't keep doing this and get stuck on a job and burning up these machines. So maybe I should look into a 4 gallon a minute machine. And I just kind of gradually baby stepped my way up as I was getting busier and growing my business.
No doubt. And case in point, I could even zoom out to where I'm at now. I have a 8 gallon per minute hot water burner that I bought, and I have yet to truly use it. And I've had it for 6 months. So the status of business that I'm at now is still relevant to where Clay's talking about if you guys are brand new newbies. So a piece of equipment is only an investment if your marketing in your business is allowing you to use it and make money on it. Otherwise, it's a liability. So don't think, oh, if I just have a hot water unit, I can get into commercial. If I just have a roof pump, I can get into roof washing. And you're looking at what guys who have their marketing in check, the guys who have their book of business, their word of mouth, like they're already established enough in their business to be able to use all those tools. And if you think, oh, if I buy a $20,000 skid setup, I'm going to be able to make 1,500 bucks a day because that's what the gurus tell me I can make. Sure, you can make that based upon pounding through all the work you have. But if you're at year one, you don't really have that much depth of schedule. So unless you have a ton of money you want to burn through in the beginning, which I don't recommend, you want to start something smaller, start something where you can make profitable money on your first truck. And that's something you hear too a lot of times in like the guru land where scale, scale, scale. Okay. But in reality, you want to set the foundation correctly. You don't want to take on debt. You don't want to burn money you don't need to burn. You want to be profitable on your first setup. So before you go out buying all this fancy stuff, figure out how much money it takes to make a profit, figure out how busy you are, and then buy the appropriate equipment for that position you are in. So for me, it was like Clay said, I had a free machine because I had zero startup costs. It was just like me trading my time to make money with free equipment. So I had the Honda 390. It was like the Northern Tool version of it. It was great. I was wanding driveways, and I had like the power horse or the powerhouse little metal Northern Tool surface cleaner that spins until it blows up. So you get like one or two jobs off of it, and then you got to replace it. And that made me my first few $1,000s. And then from there, I realized, okay, this is a legit thing. So I actually invested a little bit into a 5x8 trailer with a buffer tank and a 5 gallon per minute machine that allowed me to get a whisper wash that was able to hold up to the day to day, which is that's the biggest difference I noticed, like between buying a prosumer or like something from Northern Tool and buying something that is a professional grade is like how long it lasts. And like we ran through some BE pressure washing surface disc like with our business as we were scaling, because I was like, man, I don't know if I want to give my employees $1,000 surface cleaner. So I was buying these BEs when they were like $400. We ended up going through them faster than if we just bought the right thing from the start. But at that phase of business, when cash is a little bit lighter, there's nothing wrong with buying something that's a lower tier because you're not having to spend all that money when you don't have the jobs or the workload that you're going to truly beat it up. So invest number one in sales and marketing and then getting work. You can tell it's time to upgrade when you're running out of time in the day with your schedule because you have too much work and when you're blowing stuff up too often. That's kind of like when I was a newbie, that's when I decided to make the upgrades. Nowadays, like with everybody financing rigs or using like click lease or one of these like predatory like scam things, you're going to spend $30,000 for a setup that's going to cost you like 15 grand and it's going to be sitting and you're going to try to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, which is what happens in the slow season. So, as Clay says,
Yes.
focus on marketing, focus on sales first.
Speaking of slow season, I think as a business, we have gone somewhere between eight to $10,000 in the hole in the slow season when we're not actively producing numbers. Obviously, because it's the weather for one thing. Everybody worried about Christmas, and then basically right after tax season or during tax season is when we start picking back up. Luckily, this January I have picked up tremendously. We're up a pretty good bit for this January for my business. But in December, we didn't really do anything. So you're going to go in the hole no matter what in the slow season. Want to make sure you stay lean those first couple years, or either make sure you put a pretty good amount of money back just to make sure you can make it through between your personal bills and your business bills.
Exactly.
Um, Go ahead.
I was gonna say too, like Clay's actually like ahead of me in this January so far. So it just shows you could be on top, and then within a month later, you're like, man, I am cash flow negative. Business, life, stuff's expensive, and you gotta really expect. Okay, if I'm making money in this business, so this is for all the newbies out there. You can get addicted to that like day by day, week by week, the cash flow of pressure washing. And you don't think about that because usually when we're starting these businesses, we're like all gung ho. It's springtime, business is all around us. Like we can afford to make mistakes and not hold on to money and not save because like we're in that season of everything's great. Well, unfortunately, there's a slow season with this. And unless you're in other activities or have a full time job, you're going to have to live off of what you made in the busy season. And I mean, even to Clay's point, like we were smoking it this past year, we had a good bit of money aside, and then we're like getting into our okay, we're getting into our buffer zone, and it's not a fun place to be, and we try to really cut ourselves and limit ourselves, and that's at the level of business we're at here. So if you're brand new and you still have to require that like job cash flow to live to pay your bills, you got to be extremely lean and mean in the beginning parts of the summer season and the spring season and really think, hey, like is this the right move for me to jump full time or should I part time this? Because you can grow your business part time, which is more so what I did than what Clay did. Whereas like instead of jumping all in with limited amount of money and not a cash flow, not a buffer from your business or the company you work for, your job, like you can grow this thing up a little bit slower and then reinvest all your money in your business, and it's better for the long term of your pressure washing business. So like don't jump into these emotional traps that you see online where guys are like, oh, just go all in. Like Clay was able to do it, and like I'm sure if you follow his ways of doing it, you could do it. But Clay's also like full of tenacity and like he can fight his way through it. A lot of people don't choose that method, so don't burn yourself out trying to copy somebody like Clay or copy somebody who just like ran really hard, really fast, has a lot of connections, and was able to grow a business. The biggest thing is like you don't want to compare yourself to others. You want to compare yourself to like who you are. And it's important to look in the mirror and say, this is the honest reflection of myself. This is what I need as a person. I need as a family man. I need as a business in order to survive. And then you make the decisions based upon that.
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to both of them as far as starting out part time and then doing the going all in like I did. I had a very aggressive resume in sales, so I was already, I was trying to survive the first uh, really year of pressure washing. I mean, I started in the slowest time of the year. If anybody's watched, go back and watch our first couple episodes. You can learn all about how I got going into this, but we started in the slow season. We started in October. I started a pressure washing business in October in one of the most competitive markets there is out there. And I only had $5,000 set aside. I know a lot of people don't have any money set aside before they start this business, but I had $5,000 set aside and I barely made it. Like I barely made it through. But the biggest reward was I worked so hard from October to February, March that it literally took off. I made more money than I'd ever made in my life, right? So, and that's coming from the car business. I was a GSM, in the car business. So I was at that top totem pole in sales. Like I could go no further, and that's why I started what I started. But to Matt's point, it may be right to do the part-time thing. If you want to gradually learn, if you're not very business savvy like I was, if you didn't know a lot of people like I was, if you didn't have $5,000 set aside like I did, and all that money went towards the business. So and helping me grow and do what I need to do and pay personal bills. I mean, we were literally paycheck to paycheck. And that's just this survival mode. You kick into survival mode, and I was naturally already uh, I guess immune to it from sales. You go into a regular job in sales, and you don't know if you're going to make money that day or not, right? So it's kind of the same concept. If you got to look at this business as a um, more of a sales type thing and trying to in a business type thing versus a technician and mechanically minded type thing, because if you don't, you're going to struggle or you're going to be asking us for help, and that's what we're here for.
Exactly right. And again, Clay and I both come from the background of sales, and I was more in the corporate sales. He was more into like car sales, which is like both the same thing, just kind of different mindset. So like a lot of people get into this either you because especially nowadays, if you're right out of high school instead of going to college, hey, I watched a YouTube video. These people are making money on pressure washing, or hey, I'm currently in high school, and if you guys are listening and you're like, hey, I'm 16 with a pressure washer, my parents gave me a little bit of money. They said run with it. This is perfect for you because you can shortcut 15 years of my life experience and start from scratch, which is honestly in today's world, I'm kind of jealous that kids nowadays are able to do this. Like as experienced businesses and operators, we're looking around, we're like, we're not looking at that 16-year-old kid door knocking who followed YouTube. We're saying, hey, I'm envious of the opportunities that they have at this age than I did when I was in their position. So never knock yourself for wherever you start. Not everybody has the same objective. The ultimate goal is to be honest with yourself and then know your strengths. Like Clay says, if you get into something and fail, and it's like don't let your ego make the moves for you. You got to rationally think. Clay's one of those people that operates well under pressure. It's like I'm a fighter. You push me against the wall. I'm gonna perform better than if I just had it easy. Versus like, hey, you had $100,000 sitting around. You didn't necessarily need that money. It was just one of those fun things you did it on the side. I don't think you would have grown as fast and as made a big of an impact in the community as you did because you're like, I have to start. And then people also resonate and like that hustle. And then that hustle just steamrolls you into your growth phase. Whereas if you're just like, hey, I'm sitting happy, this is a part-time gig for me. I'm cool making an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a month. If I can pay for like my boat or my truck, it's a win for me. Like it's a different game. But if you really want to go in and say, hey, I'm gonna use this business to make me a man that I'm not currently, and make me a bigger version of myself, and then provide for my family, provide for employees, then you almost need a little bit of that, like the rug pull under you. Oh crap! I either grow up or like I sink or swim.
Yeah, correct. And the biggest thing about slow season, and a lot of people don't realize how rough it is. I had a lot of people in my ear telling me, "Hey, make sure you put money back. Make sure you put money back. Make sure you put money back." But you don't really realize how rough it is until the time comes. So I cannot stress enough how much. I mean, if you're in the beginning, take a look at your bill. It's just come up with a good number. But I would say if you don't have $10,000 at least set aside for the slow season, you're going to struggle, or you're going to have to go back to a regular job.
I would imagine so. And that's like for your living expenses, because in our area our slow season is probably around like 10 weeks. So usually, depending on how the weather is, depending on how busy you guys are, depending if you have commercial opportunities, like your our season dries up residentially probably like second week of December. Christmas comes in, nobody's thinking about pressure washing. If you have some commercial work, yeah, that can squeeze in here and there. People moving, that can influence stuff too. But like we have a huge book of business, and it pretty much stops from like middle of December to depending on how warm January is. So it could be around Valentine's Day before we get like consistent flow again. So there's a window of like a month and a half where you have to know, like, okay, how much money does it take to live? How much money does it take to pay my business bills and then my personal bills? You don't want to say, "Oh, I'm good, but like I only have 3 weeks of this and then I have to go to my job." You have to plan ahead and prepare for this. Because like Clay says in all these other episodes, it's like, hey, if you're planning like in the springtime, you need to plan for the winter, and in the winter, you need to plan for the spring. So that's like a great logic that he's had since the start of like it's almost like being a farmer. You don't just like, hey, I'm making all the money in the spring and summer, and like I'm just gonna burn it on a boat, and then I'm gonna be in debt and have to sell my boat in the wintertime. So like you have to think of this not so much as like month to month, but as the entire year as a whole. Because in a seasonal business, unlike a job, unlike like how crazy it can be in spring, like the off season will hurt. Like you will go in the red. So it's important that you have savings. It's important that you know like your variable expenses and all that stuff. So you're not here just like living in the moment, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm starting either negative or I'm starting I'm gonna have to like sell something. Because if you're starting in the negative and you're not able to have like a strong footing going forward in the early spring or like this time of year to position yourself for a good spring, you're already setting yourself up for a bad year.
100%. Be ambitious. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, I actually made a post. I think I said this earlier. The biggest mistakes we made, and a lot of guys commented on there. So another thing that I've seen a lot of was pricing your work too cheap in the beginning. We're all guilty of it. I know Matt's guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I'll have customers that'll reach out to me that I watched 3 or 4 years ago and say, "Hey, oh, you've went up a lot since the beginning." You know, well, my business expenses have went up since the beginning. My groceries have went up since the beginning. The last thing you want to do is undercut everybody in your market and be the cheap guy in town.
Exactly. Because you have to think about when you're going after a customer, is this somebody that I want as a repeat customer? Nobody thinks about that. We're so much in this like short frame of thought. Oh, how can I go out and get work? How can I use my fancy pressure washing equipment? How can I grow my business? Well, if you're chasing the lowest bidder and you're in Facebook groups all day long saying, I can undercut this guy, there's going to be a kid in there. There's going to be somebody unlicensed. There's going to be somebody that's just doing this on the side that will do it for $80 or $90 or $100. You're competing with those people. If you build yourself up as a business with a brand behind yourself and authority and expertise in the space, it's a little bit slower, but it's going to reward you way more by going after a high clientele base than if you're just chasing opportunities from the low end. And to Clay's point, like I've got people, they have a fixed income, they got a budget. Yeah, like in 2018, I did their house when I was doing this on the side for like $200. It didn't cost me much because it was just a little bit of bleach and my 5 gallon minute pressure washer in my time before I had insurance and all that stuff. So yeah, it's better. But what do you do when you're running a business and you have employees, you have overhead, you have workman's comp insurance, you have marketing insurance, you have opportunity costs? Like you have to have minimums in place. So like our minimums are like 350, or we want to have them at 350 versus 300 this coming year, just because there's a lot of churning going on in our business. And as I was looking at my numbers this year, we're doing a lot of spinning, and that's okay if you want to get your name out there, build a reputation, but you have to hit a certain point and say, how can I make profit on these jobs, and how can I move the needle forward? Because we don't want to be in this position 4, 5, 6 years down the road and saying, man, I'm losing money, I'm losing jobs to the $99 guy. Like this business just isn't cut out. But that's not a they problem, that's a you problem. And if when you're new, if you want to like try to create a brand that's bigger than we currently are, and that is what my objective was with Matt the Driveway Guy kind of from the start. I had the privilege of doing that because I didn't want to take on work. I didn't want like I didn't do like the truck cleanings, like the kind of like grunt work. I didn't do that kind of stuff because I was trying to go after a specific customer base, and I built my brand around that. Like I didn't jump full time from the start like Clay did. I was able to spend like a year or so with my full time job doing it on the side. So like I had a little different starting point than Clay did, but it allowed me to cherry pick more of my customers and go a higher ticket. So like if you're in the beginning, understand by chasing cheap, you're creating issues, whether it be callbacks, bad customers, people that don't value your service, but you're also creating issues with like those are your customers that you're going to follow up with every couple of years. And you don't want to say, hey, 3 years down the road, I have a different price point than I did when I first started. All those customers are almost a waste because they're not going to use you. They're going to use the cheapest person.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things that you don't think about. I mean, things that I'm thinking about in my head now that I didn't have back then that I have now, especially with costs that help me grow my business and things that I use in my business every day. So my minimum now is double what it was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, however long it's been. This is my fifth full season. But the biggest thing is, like I said, you'll have those people that'll call back and they'll say, "Oh, you went up." You know, it hurts at first. The big when I went up on my minimums, you know, it hurt at first, but eventually, you know, you get them rolling. Once you build that brand, the biggest thing is making sure you build your brand, build your reputation, get those reviews on Google. If this, I cannot stress it enough. You're in year one or year two, and you don't have a Google Maps account, Google My Business, whatever it's called now, because they change it so much, make sure you get on there. Start getting those reviews now. It is a time in the game type thing. It's not a tomorrow type thing. You're not going to build that reputation. You're not going to get those 400, 600 reviews that me and Matt have. I think I don't know how many you have, Matt. I think you're pushing 600. I'm pushing 400. So Matt's got 200 more reviews than me, right? So if it comes down to me and Matt on a bid, if Matt has 600 reviews and I have 400 5-star reviews, at the end of the day, if we're somewhat near in price, even if he's $10 more than me, they're probably going to go with Matt because he has more reviews than I do.
That is nothing about who can wash better, who runs a better business, or who's better at being a person. Because I find a lot of people they get offended when they're like, "Oh, look at this or look at that." It's like this is how it looks in the eyes of the customers. You want to build yourself out as a established brand, a leader in your community, and somebody that a lot of people like. Like everybody respects and pays a lot of money for Nikes and stuff like that because all the NBA basketball players wear it. People spend all the money for it. There's a lot of demand. So by being in demand in your business, that means having a lot of social media presence, having a lot of Google reviews. That shows demand. So that is building value into your brand, and that's where the difference between me and Clay on Google reviews is I just started earlier. So if I would have just kind of kicked the can down the road and said, "Oh no, I don't need to grow my marketing. I don't need to focus on building my brand," Clay and I would be on the same level, despite me putting more years in the game. So I see this a lot. It seems like when I started getting heavy into this was 2018. This was before a lot of the internet stuff started like popping off. And I was taking elements and using social media, and it was kind of new because not a lot of people invested in social media marketing with the videos and with all this stuff for pressure washing. So, but I had guys who were saying, "Oh, I just use word of mouth. I don't need any of that stuff." That's like the old school way of thinking. That is definitely dead here in 2026. I mean, if in 2018 it was kind of new, I was getting traction on it. COVID hit, everybody started jumping full time into this. So if you're not 2026, 8 or 6 years later than the COVID boom of pressure washing, if you're not actively doing everything in your power to grow your like online presence, especially with AI nowadays, because AI is cool. Like I'm doing a refresh on my website and I'm adding all these elements so AI registers it, or like Yelp directories. All this stuff is extremely important because they're gonna say, "Hey AI, ChatGPT, who should I hire to pressure wash my house? Hey Alexa, who should I hire to pressure wash my house?" And they're gonna say, "Hire this guy because he has this many reviews, he has this award in the community, and he services your area." Like if you're not doing everything you can as a newbie when you're first starting to build up that internet presence, that online presence, capture those reviews, you are setting yourself up behind. Because in the reality of the situation, I've got technicians who run my trucks for me, and they're doing 500 or 600 jobs. Probably they're probably doing like my main guy's probably doing like 500 jobs a year. So like we're doing like as a business owner, your objective is to run the business run, not get stuck in your business, but like run the business, the marketing, and how your brand appears. So when you get a call, a customer wants to have their house cleaned. They don't necessarily want you to clean it, but they want you to run, like you have to run your business as opposed to try to run your equipment. Because like at the end of the day, if you're just competing with the technician down the street, you're going to lose on price every day. Like the objective here of the Wash Bros is to teach people how to grow your business, your brand, so it does the work for you. And instead of spending 10 years pressure washing driveways, if you would have spent 10 years investing in building your business, your Google reviews, your online presence, your community, your word of mouth, you have a huge business. And then you can figure out guys that you can pay $50,000, $60,000 a year to do the pressure washing for you. They're going to do a great job because you're treating them well, because your business is built where it can support them.
Absolutely. Like Matt said, and like I said, it's time in the game. You got to make sure you get started on that immediately. Come up with creative ways. Wash a driveway for free, or I wouldn't say wash a driveway for free, or wash a sidewalk for free. Do a little extra work. Clean their stairs off if you didn't have that in the quote. Just do something small that wasn't in the quote. Say if you don't mind, when they thank you for doing that extra thing, just that gives you an opening to say, "Ma'am, if you don't mind, please go to Google, leave us a review." If you don't have that Google Maps or whatever yet, tell them to go leave you a review on Facebook. Anything that you can get on the internet is good. It helps your SEO, it helps your visibility, it helps everything that comes along. Anything that you can put on the internet, anything, any little free article anybody can write, like those awards that me and Matt do here in our community, those are good. We've done TV commercials and everything, so we've been on through that through all their platforms and stuff like that. So anything that you can get on the internet, it doesn't matter what it is, even if it's something stupid like even like a Yelp account, any kind of account that you can get on the internet, be posting every day. And that's something that I lack on, without a virtual assistant like Matt has, that's something I lack on. So it hurts me with my SEO. So it's something that I have to get better at. But anything you can get on the internet, like Matt said, it'll process with the AI and everything nowadays. And you can use ChatGPT to help you out. Just kind of word it in your own ways.
Exactly right. And ChatGPT is a great tool. Just don't leave it super generic. It's only as good as the prompts you give it. So you want to upload your information, tell it what to think about you, what your company represents, and it's kind of like an editor. It helps you pull everything together. If you just feed it nonsense and say, "Write me this," it's going to give you a nonsense response. But ChatGPT is an amazing tool, and you can kind of see like in the coaching space, like there used to be so many gurus out there, so many courses being pushed, and all this stuff that are just generic crap. But like with AI, like it is doing so much work of that for you, and I use it all the time in my business to like kind of ask it questions, kind of see where to go. Granted, it's not the same as having the Wash Bros or having an experienced person in the field, and like I can tell that, but like it's good enough to fill in some gaps, and then you can ask questions to people like Clay and I, whether it be in our Wash Bros Facebook group or we'll probably kick this thing off. If you guys follow our social media groups, we have a school page now. So if you're familiar with school, it's an online community. We've been talking about this for a while. We're going to post like course videos, stuff like that. So there'll probably be a free section and then maybe a premium section, depending on how much attention you would want from Clay and I, and how serious you guys are in your business. But we're trying to create a common place where everything is in one position, because like an episode like this, what we're talking about, a lot of things, you're in your car, you're in your truck, man, maybe I heard that sounded great, but like where do I even start? And if you guys are like year one newbies, like we've gone through this, we've made the mistakes, we've learned, we're now at that point where we're compiling it all into stuff that you can track, because it's not, oh, go through this YouTube video, go through these podcasts. It's like, okay, here's a section on the Wash Rose page. It's going to be like, these are your newbie mistakes. This is what we've done to fix it. And this is what we learned from. So that's going to be something exciting in 2026 that we're putting together for all you guys.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for it because we've only been talking about it for about a year and a half or 2 years now. So I'm excited we're getting it done. Matt's done a great job. He's the nerd, so he does all that behind the scenes type stuff. But I'm here to help you with any kind of knowledge or whatnot that we have going on. So if you would make sure the coolest thing about the school thing and the Wash Pros group that we have on Facebook is that if we're talking about something and you want us to go into more depth on what we have talked about, we can do that as well. So if you about the review thing, if you need help with coming up with ideas or how to get that set up, maybe that's something that we can help with. Anything that we've talked about, slow season, how much money do I need to set aside? If you want to go into more depth about that, maybe we could talk about that in a group. Just please just follow us on the YouTube, follow us on the Spotify, follow us on the Apple Podcast, every platform we're on. I know we do the live stream. We're live now. We always let these out on Sunday. So follow my personal page, Clay Smith. Follow Matt's personal page, Matthew Jackson. And then our businesses, my business, C3 Wash Pros LLC on Facebook, and Matthew Jackson's, or Matt Jackson's business, Matt the Driveway Guy, on Facebook as well. You can also check us out on Google, see how legit we are. We obviously have many reviews that you can see our work, our pictures, and how our websites are put about, and that kind of stuff. You wanted to kind of mirror what we've done.
Exactly. And again, to reinforce the importance of having a community group such as the Wash Bros. Like Clay was saying, we've been talking about this for like a year or so, or 2 years, about putting together a course, putting together stuff. Like, it's super busy building a business, living your life, doing your things. And so with the Wash Bros, like, this is like a passion project. And then Clay, like, this year, he's like, okay, we got to figure out how to put the like pieces together to this. We can't just keep talking. And that's the accountability that we have with each other that allows us to grow in our personal businesses. And if you guys want that and the same type of group, the Wash Bros group, we're holding everybody accountable. So it's on school. I think we got like 5 members as of now. A place to curate discussion. We want to keep it in the same tone of the Wash Bros, where it's like legitimate operators. And the vibes, if you guys go to like powerwashingcoach.com, or if you follow our page, we're not trying to be the YouTube guru people. Like, we actively invest in our businesses and we run our businesses every day. So this is kind of like a piece of the day for us. And we can all grow together, because like Clay and I've grown because like he'll say something and I'll take it, and he's in working a business problem and he'll take it. And it's like, okay, we're talking at a higher level. So like, if you want more of a higher level curated, like operator type of community, that's what the Wash Bros is. We're not here trying to like, sure, we'll give you resources where you can start out and learn the shortcuts from, like, if you're in year 1, year 2, year 3, or if you haven't even made a decision to make the jump. But we're not here going to debate like speeds and feeds. We're not going to debate chemical ratios. We're not going to debate nonsense. We're going to teach you how to make real businesses that last and you can scale and grow. So that's the objective of the Wash Bros. And we're really excited because, like Clay said, it's been like a long time in coming, but we've got like the tiers of the school community. We got the powerwashingcoach.com, and we've got a couple books on Amazon. So whatever you like to do, how you like to absorb information, if it's via listening to podcasts all day long when you're in the truck like this, watching us on YouTube, or if you're more hands-on interactive, go to our school community. We'll put some like visual, we'll put some courses together, we'll put some videos together, and then you can ask us direct questions. So that is that's all I got for this episode. I've been spending a lot of time kind of getting the ball rolling in business, getting the ball rolling with the Wash Bros. So it's gonna be a killer 2026, and we hope you guys kill it as well. You got any last words, Clay?
No, I just make sure you give us a follow on all the pages and stuff that I recommended following earlier, and then reach out to us if you need us.
Yep, sounds like a plan. Well, we'll see you guys on the next one. And if you have any questions, make sure to go to the Facebook group, get into our school group, and we can answer them before our next podcast.
Peace.
See ya.